Welcome back to the Video Pals Show. I'm Josh from StoryKing, and today I have a special show for you. We are doing a breakdown episode. We are doing the Club Euro breakdown. So this is a project we did this January, and it was super fun, and it's plastered on billboards all over the town. Not our video, but the photos. But you know, you'll recognize a lot of these shots. So I'm excited to show you guys the lighting diagrams, the shot list, the storyboards, the final shots, the behind the scenes photos. You know, essentially we captured over 1,000 behind the scenes images. Like, we got a lot of content on this, but I have been holding this back because I have been wanting to make the perfect behind the scenes video that just makes everything perfect. It makes us look amazing. It makes it look like we did everything smart and perfect. Guess what? That video is never going to happen because I'm never going to make it because I don't have time. And that's just the truth. So instead of me trying to give you the perfect curated version of what happened, I'm instead going to open up my folder of behind the scenes pictures. I'm going to open up the documents, and I'm just going to give you the raw, unfiltered, here it is look at everything and how we went about this project. And I'm going to be a little scatterbrained because there's a lot going on. And I'm going to not say everything right because this is not a perfect video. This video is not perfect. I'm Josh, and I make unperfect videos just like the rest of you. But I still think a very valuable video because I'm going to be showing you guys a lot of what we did and how we did it. And I think there's value in that, even if the presentation is not what I would like it to be. Let me go ahead and just play this video a little bit for you guys while I'm talking about it. So this is a video that we produced for Europhoria. They were opening a new gym, Club Euro. You'll recognize a lot of these shots from billboards around town because a lot of these same kinds of frames, like I said, there's photos of, and they're out. So this was a video for a club, and they were opening something unique that we had never seen before. They wanted a light and airy gym video because that's kind of the brand of Europhoria, and that's the kind of gym they have. It's the gym with crystal chandeliers and gold leaf, paint on the wall, and really nice gym. Not the typical like dark, moody gym, because it's not about hard-hitting workouts and building muscle in the way that you see typical gym stuff. It's something different. And so we were challenged to create something new and different that no one had ever seen before. So we had a fun time doing that. So what I have for you guys is behind the scenes. We had over 700 photos, like 1,000 photos and videos behind the scenes that we did. We've got documents, treatments, shot lists. We've got the schedule. We've got, more stuff that we delivered for them. So I'm just going to kind of jump in and break it all down. So obviously looking at behind the scenes photos is more exciting than looking at schedules and all these other things. So let's go ahead and get the schedule out of the way. So for this shoot, we had basically a 12-hour day, and we started at 6 and ended at 6, essentially. We had planned for the Pilates filming. Then we broke out and did some stuff in the courtyard based on lighting and time. And then we went back and filmed the Pilates. We did the lobby. Then we came back and filmed Pilates. Anyways, blah, 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 blah. This was all planned out. My point is this was a commercial shoot. This was highly planned in detail. So that's really what this is about. If I were to jump into the shot list, you can see all these shots are planned, and it is organized. It is planned. We know what lens we're going to be on. We know what we're like. This was, 3 pages of this, that we had our documents and stuff. Anyways, all that so that we could deliver what they wanted. So in addition to the video you've seen, we also delivered to them about 75, what we call, social clips. It's a library of curated stock footage that a brand can get when they work with us. It's one of the options we provide. So we take all the footage from the shoot and we curate the best shots and we sell that to them. And so they can then take these shots and create their own, edits. And so like, oh, maybe this didn't make it in the cut the same way it was in the commercial, but maybe they've got a promotion they're running. Hey, come in and do this, and they can do this and throw a graphic on it. They can make their own social media videos. And so, shots you might have never seen in the actual promo are also in these clips because there's a lot of great content that can be captured on a wedding day. Like this was a fun shot, which we'll talk about behind the scenes, how we had to light that. But there's just so many, shots that may not make it into that promo, but can be useful for other things. And so we allow our clients to repurpose these shots and use them in different ways. I mean, you could screen grab these and put them on a billboard too. Not that we're going to do that, but just so many different shots. Like this one made it in the final promo. But you'll see there's just a huge variety. Let's see the whole room. We'll just stop right here and just talk because, this shot is a great example of lighting and different things that we did. So as we were filming these, if you look out here, the sun is not really there, and we really wanted the sun coming in on this wall. So this is actually a light that we put outside. We stuck a bright light out here. I want to say it was like a 600D, something like that. And I think that was a 600 watt Godox that we had out here, shining in, blasting in the windows, and just creating this ping of light on the back wall because we wanted that to happen. And we also have another light. I think it was my Nanlite 720 bouncing off the wall just out of frame to kind of back illuminate this side of the room because there's lots of light coming in these windows, but there's not a lot of light coming in this side of the room. It was pretty dark. So we were basically bouncing that light back this way, kind of carrying that over. Anyways, so this whole thing was kind of more of like a high key lighting. It was very, very light. And we wanted to be able to see out the windows and see the exposure out the windows, but being inside the whole time. So things like that, so you can see these. You can actually see a reflection right here if you're careful. This mirror, oh my goodness, this mirror was the bane of our existence all day. It's right smack in the middle of the room. If I grab this shot, you can see this mirror is right in the middle of the room, straight in the middle of the room. And so in all of our angles, we had to watch that mirror so closely and to try to not see ourselves, to not see our lights. And it's a good sized mirror too. So you'll notice like in this shot, we're in the mirror. We have her covering us up. Otherwise, you would see Mike pushing the camera on the dolly in the mirror right here. There's also another big mirror here and another one here. So windows, mirrors. Yeah, this was fun. To get everything positioned in a way that worked. And then we turned around and shot some shots the other way as well. So we can, we have to relight and all this stuff. But, a lot of nice, lots of nice footage to be had because we get to play in everything. We get to light it and then go through the movements kind of with their, I'll say choreographer, but, the instructor. And say like, hey, what shots are we going to do? Where are we going to put them? And we get to figure all these shots out. These shots here, where's the light, right? Where's the light? Well, over here behind this wall, we've got a little light hiding, kicking some light this way. We've got light on this side coming in here. Like we've just got lights everywhere in these scenes because that's what you got to do to keep that high key lighting. Here we've got, the light's a little easier to see in this particular shot. You got light coming back this way. Anyway, we did schedule. So if we come back to the shot list for a second, actually, we'll go to photos, right? This is what everyone wants to see, behind the scenes photos. Let's skim to the top here. There's so many photos, right? So we started load in super early. We had a lot of gear. Now this shoot is actually before we got our new production cart, which you'll see in all of our new content. It's before we got our new monitors for clients, which you'll see, in all of our new content. So there's some differences there. But we had a good crew here. I was DP, Mike was gaffer. We had Augie and Jaime out with us for this one. And then Heather joined us a little later, and she was our first AD, which was fantastic. For us to not have to manage everything and all client expectations and talk to client and figure everything out all by ourselves. So that was great. First thing, we came into the Pilates room. We had to set up dolly track. We had to set up lights, cameras, all that good stuff. So let's jump in here and find like a more exciting shot, right? Setting up dolly track is always exciting. And then of course, I'm out here setting up whatever else is going on here. Oh yes. Aha. So this is putting, failing to put balls on the feet of your C-stands. So everything in this place was like nice floor. Even the outside, like this is like nice painted concrete. We didn't want to chip up the concrete with our stands. So we put tennis balls on the feet of our stands that didn't have wheels. And then we made sure that like some of our stands had wheels, some of them had tennis balls. That way we weren't scratching up stuff on their floors. That way we were making sure that, everything was good and nice. See, they're getting the dolly track set up here. Oh, still setting the dolly track. Getting lights set. So all the different things that go into making something like, okay, here we go. So this is our old client monitor that we used to use. It's a 15-inch, portable computer monitor. Works great. It's not very bright, so it's not good outside. But we were able to put a vase mount on there and mount some stuff on the back so we could mount receiver, batteries, all that stuff, and have it on a stand on tennis balls. So you'll see that. Yeah, there's the back side of that thing, which is pretty exciting. And then we've got tripods, lights, dolly, and getting all that set and getting everything ready for the shoot. So I'll just kind of pop through some of these. Yeah, so we had the FX6, we had the Zine Cinema Primes, and that was kind of how we rolled for this. There's the Nanlite 720 getting ready to be put up to bounce light around in that room. Tripod, we'll put a battery on that camera eventually. Lots of colored tape, marking things down. We had the gimbal, which we're getting ready also. We got to tape everything down. Heather got there, so she was first AD, which was nice to have. And then we have these little spotlights, which are the Fresnels, which are great because it helps you really control that light and blast it where you want it instead of have it just kind of go everywhere. So that's really nice to have. So you can see there, we got the FX6 kitted out with all the good stuff. We're still nowhere near ready rolling, which is fine because we scheduled time for all of this, right? All of this is planned and scheduled time now. We didn't think about all the things in the room that needed to be moved. And so when we got there, we had to do a lot of furniture moving, which we had to be careful with because it's all brand new furniture. This place hasn't even opened, so all the furniture is brand new. So it's like, be careful with everything. Make sure we don't, break anything and scratch anything. So it's like, here we are trying to hide lights in corners because we can't have those lights, in the scene. So getting cameras set up, which is nice. And let's see, anything fun happening in this clip? There is so much behind the scenes. Like, we could just sit here the entire time and click through behind the scenes. There is so much because we had so many lights. We had so many, things going on this shoot. Lots of running cables, and then we flipped a breaker. Oh, and then we had an iPad for a second client monitor. That way, whenever, with a little power adapter, that way, whenever we were not, somewhere where the client could kind of directly be watching our monitor, that they had an iPad they could kind of have around with them. We also had the Atomos Ninja, doing a backup recording as well. There's always so many good behind the scenes photos. Camera rig getting ready. We actually threw on a fisheye lens, not fisheye, but a 14 millimeter for the master wide, which we set up first. It's really helpful to shoot your master wide shots first. There's Jaime out on the road setting up our 600 to blast through the window. And we're getting things dialed in to make sure we're ready to film. We got working with the trainers and everybody. Stay hydrated. You need that. And, we just kind of had to get all the scenes set, get things figured out. There's John the owner. So he's our client that we're working with, and these lights are so bright that behind the scenes camera's like, what do I do? And then there's always stuff to move it. You can see both monitors up now. So yeah, there's just a lot that goes into a shoot like this. There's crew, there's cast, there's, stuff that there's clients are looking at on the monitor, taking a peek at things. Now on something like this, you have to have someone who's doing set design, because if you don't have someone doing set design, there's a photographer, Lissa, she's great. And once binders, you got to have the binders, all the stuff's in the binders. And I always set my binders down and lose them, which is why I have Heather to take care of my binders for me and help me find them. Because there's just way too much going on the day. So let's see. The next thing is the pickup dolly camera. And so there we are looking at the storyboards and figuring out, okay, shot list, what's going to happen next? Where do we need to be for the next thing? And we had a bunch of different behind the scenes cameras, and we just threw it all into an iPhoto. So they're all kind of synced up time wise, but you see like the same photo from multiple cameras because we had multiple cameras taking pictures and different stuff. So that's why everything looks like it does. Because no, we have not in months had time to sit here and edit all this footage. So no, we don't have it figured out. So now we're getting closer to rolling. We've got some things set, got people in the scene, got lights. This is when it starts getting exciting. We're looking at final frame. We're saying, hey, look at this, look at that. On this shoot, we also had a wireless follow focus, which I was running. So I was on monitor and follow focus. We were using the Tilted Nucleus Nano, wanted to try that out. I've used the big Nucleus before, wanted to try out the Nano. Ultimately wasn't happy with it, so we did send it back. Just had a lot of calibration issues, which had some moments where they slowed us down, and it was like, this is annoying. We don't want to be slowed down by a follow focus. So, but it's a lot of like, do that motion again, do it again, and then do it like this. Now do this a little different with your face or whatever it may be. Like there's just so much repetition, but you got to do it multiple times to get, what you need in the end. Clients on the monitor watching, Lissa, the photographer, she was also really helpful with styling and just kind of catching little details. She was taking the photos so when you see the billboards, you're seeing her photos. Let's see, this looks like it might be kind of a take. Yeah, so there's the light blasting. There's that. There we go. Everything's moving. So, it's like you take a lot of time to get these certain shots because these shots are going to be those hero shots that you need. We got our clipboards and lists here. And then we move the dolly over, get some, similar action from a different angle. You got to have all these things to put something like this together. So, just there is so much that goes into it. And that's why there's like 1,000 behind the scenes pictures, which we're not going to sit here and go through every single picture because that would take forever. But just kind of flipping through, you kind of get a sense of what we were doing and how it was lit and different things. We spent a lot of time in this room doing the Pilates stuff. Let me actually just break out of behind the scenes for a minute and jump over to shot list. The shot lists are exciting, right? We all like a shot list. Let me zoom in on this a little bit so you can kind of see a little better. So this is our kind of our storyboard, our shot list, our schedule, all merged into one document because I like to look at things that way. So, we've got like the sun time node. Okay, sunrise is here. We knew we were going to come in a setup. We were going to do these things. We were going to get these certain shots, the dolly shots here, move synchronize. We're going to get, the smiling in the workout, get 3/4, putting stuff in a cubby, and then giving the photographer some time. Also, because this was a photo and video shoot, so it wasn't just us doing video. We also had to make sure that Lissa had time to get her photos. Now, of course, she was also shooting the whole time we were doing video because we didn't need sound for this. So it was totally cool for her to shoot and get her shots. But she also needed time to do her own poses and things. So it's like we would leave our lighting set up, let her, get those shots that she needed that she wasn't able to get kind of, over our shoulders. And then, and so that was great for everyone to be able to get what they needed. And so you can see like how long we have, which room we're in, what the shots are, storyboards. Some things we drew storyboards for, some things we got reference frames from other videos and went, we want something kind of like this. And some stuff we just didn't storyboard because we were like, it's pretty straightforward. We know what we're going to do. But we would note out dolly track gimbal, if it's going to be a wide or an ultra wide, what lens it's going to be on. This was a zoom lens because we were on the gimbal. And then what frame rate we were going to be at, and if we were going to bouncing the light, doing a tube light, what we were going to do. So we have all that kind of stuff, in here figured out. So we also knew based on timing that we needed to get our courtyard shots, in this specific time frame, because that's when the sun was in the right spot for the courtyard shots. Because we had already come out and done a location scout, which I didn't pull that up for you. But we went and we did a location scout. We filmed everything and noted where things were, what time, like where the sun was, and used the Sunseeker app and all this stuff so that we could map out what things were going to look like when. So we knew we needed to film the courtyard in this window because that's when it was going to have the sun pinging through just right, coming through the trees, and it worked out perfectly. And then, come back, we're going to do the lobby because, again, we want the sun in a certain place for the lobby shots. And then, we know, okay, we're going to come back, we're going to finish all the Pilates stuff, and we have, 5 minutes a shot. Boom, 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 boom. We have it all timed out, what we're going to do, get the chandeliers, all these things. And then we come to the next page, and you can see we finish that out, and then we do lunch. Always plan a 60-minute lunch, right? If we're talking scheduling, plan a 60-minute lunch because things happen. And if you don't plan a 60-minute lunch, you won't get a lunch. So I learned that a long time ago. Plan a 60-minute lunch so that you make sure you have time for lunch. So we also planned that the photographer would have their time while we were setting up for the next scene. So we weren't just standing there. We were using that time. And then we also have the shoot order as well as the edit order, for these things and how it connects into the video that we're making. So then we know after lunch, we give ourselves time to set up for the next scene. So it's like, okay, we know we have 30 minutes to set the lights, to master set the lights for the strength training scene. And then we're going to come in and we'll adjust things as needed, but we've kind of got that, we know we're going to do a book light. So we're going to prep that. So we know we're coming in, from this time, to this time to do this. And then here again, we've got, our frame references. We know some stuff's dolly, some is gimbal, shots, lenses, what's a book light, what's a bounce, etc. So then we go and we get, this series of shots. And Heather's there the whole time checking off the shots as we go. And then we've got, time to break down to get out everything. This is one facility, but it's like, okay, we need 15 minutes to break down these lights to move them through the doorway into the next scene, and then time to set them up on the other side of the doorway. And that varied based on scene and what we were doing. So I know we had a couple of quick shots in the consultation room. It was a small room. It was like, oh, we're just going to probably throw the tube lights with a noodle, which is exactly what we did. And then now it's going to be sunset time. At sunset time, we're going to go get certain shots in the courtyard, people leaving through the courtyard. Then we're going to get dusk, at the front, and we're going to shoot this with a battery-powered 60-watt light. And then we're going to get parking lot walking away shots. And that way we knew what we needed there. And then we knew after it's dark, we're going to come back in and shoot the bathroom shots that we needed because the bathroom is in the middle of the building. You don't have any idea if it's daytime, nighttime. So great. We put that after dark, do that in the night. And that was, again, another tube with a noodle setup. So anyway, that is that. Before I jump back to a few more behind the scenes, let's take a look at a few of these clips. Let's see. So these are all strength training, which, there's a lot of book lighting, bounce light going on for a lot of these. Let's see, actually book light we did for the walking in shots, which is this. So right where you can't see it in this mirror, we've got a book light pushing in some light. We've also got some kind of rim light coming in. And so, you know, there's a whole lot of light happening on these scenes. You know, sometimes we'd be shooting here and there's, again, another ginormous mirror. So we've got the light crammed in the corner right here, just out of frame, bouncing so that it's soft, right off these nice white walls everywhere, which makes it nice for bouncing light. So we've got that bouncing up off the corner, so it has a nice, nice soft fall off and stuff. And so we're able to, nail all these shots pretty quick because we've got that lighting set up in a way that lets us move fast. And so, and some of these, like, okay, right there in the mirror, you can see our little 60-watt light up there in the corner that was kicking off, a hair light. There it is again. And these mirrors are everywhere, which is why it's okay to, get away with some things for, for these clips. You can let that slide on these little clips that they're going to cut for social media, but you can't let that slide in that full promo. Again, here, we're right up against that mirror. We've got the light bouncing off the wall. It works. And then, we threw in some fun hallway shots. These weren't even on the list, but we were there. We saw it, and we're just like, this hallway's pretty cool. It'd be fun to get some shots of the girls walking through the hallway. I think these were the better ones. But, you can just kind of see it was a really cool space to work with. So we had a lot to work with. Here's the bathroom shots. And, it was a nice, well-lit bathroom, but it just needed a little more kick. So where's that kick? There's a tube light right here on the side of frame. You can just barely see it in this water when we get to the very end of pulling out. But that tube light is literally just sitting here in a pool noodle. There's behind the scenes of that somewhere. Which we may have time to see because that was the last shot of the day. I'm not sure if we'll get that far behind the scenes. This was the consultation room, which again, we just stuck up a tube light right here in the corner with a pool noodle on it, so it had its own little diffuser. It is a little sourcey, yeah, but it looks good enough. And it was a quick shot. We had to move fast. We didn't have time to really dive into it. Again, this is just big soft light. We had a decent amount of like T-bar diffusion, for some of these. So, okay, let's jump back into behind the scenes. We've seen a lot of this room. We've seen a lot of these lights. Let me actually just kind of get to our next scene here. Okay, now we're coming out to the courtyard, getting ready for that. We also had this whole basket sequence. So this was like gimbal and a tube light. Of course, we had the 720 already bouncing in the room, so that was nice. And then we just kind of got those shots, kind of filling in with the tube light where needed. And then photographers getting their shots. Mike and I figuring out we're putting a matte box on the gimbal, make sure that everything's dialed in there. Let's see. And then, oh yes, so we're doing the courtyard now. So that's what this is. So here I've got the iPad as a monitor for me, so I can see what we're doing. So I can follow right behind Mike. We actually went to an autofocus 24-105 lens for these shots. We didn't want to mess with track and focus. And then we're like testing shots with me just to make sure we like the frame. And so Mike is following me and I'm watching it on the iPad. And then when we do the actual takes, following the girl, we're doing that. And I'm following on the iPad, watching that as we go. Let's find those. Here we go. And so I'm watching on the monitor while Mike does the moves, and we just follow her down for these iconic shots that you've seen. So, and you see the 360 camera everywhere. Yeah, I messed up some of the settings on the 360 cam. And so we don't have as much 360 footage as we would like to have for this. So, and then we had some shots walking in. Augie's over here safetying Mike as he walks. I'm watching on the monitor. There you go. And we're just watching this whole thing come in and seeing the shots. And we've got if you can, let me see if one of these shots shows it. You can kind of see it here. We've got the sun coming into these trees just the way we wanted. We already had planned if the sun wasn't kicking, we'd put a light up to come through the trees, but the sun was kicking, which was great. Saved us time on trying to put up a light. So that was fantastic. Okay, so next thing was we had to grab a couple shots of the waterfall. It's actually really hard to see water trickling down white rock in the sunlight. But we were able to get those shots, so we got those, just grabbing those while the guys were setting up the dolly for the next scene. This is the iconic coming through the doorway scene. You've seen this picture on billboards. And it's fun. This was one of the shots that we envisioned, that we storyboarded, and we said, we want this shot. We want this just, perfect straight on shot of this going on. Everyone's got to get the dolly straight. Dollies are kind of a pain to work with, dolly tracks. But when you want just like really buttery smooth shots, dolly's the way to go for that. So here's a little video. And we just get that buttery smooth dolly shot. She walks in the doors. Boom. And people love, they love these shots and how they looked and stuff. It was super cool. And then we come in, we do the lobby. And then there's John and our decorator watching things. So it's nice that the clients can have like a little iPad monitor when they can't be next to us with the bigger monitor. Now we have two nice big monitors, proper monitors. Back then we were still going off of the iPad and the other thing. So it's nice that we have the larger monitors now that are better and way brighter. Like 1,000 nits and 1,500 nits for our bright monitors, which is super nice. So we can see them out in the sun. Great. So like I'm over here holding the follow focus. I'm trying to focus on this little thing, and it's just like, can we see it? And we're bouncing light. So we've got the 720 because we got the sun. This is high key, right? So the 720 Augie's Hollywooding, the ultra bounce, so that we can blast into that and just get that shot. There it is, nice and bright. So that has the feel that we're looking for. There's the rig. So then we prep for the next scenes. We're headed into the other lobby shots, and then we come back in and we do more Pilates stuff. We need different angles, different shots. We're coming in for close-ups here. So I'm just going to kind of flip through some of this quickly. Just you can kind of get a sense of kind of what the stuff we were doing in here. We're bringing lights in. We were bouncing lights off the walls. We were bouncing lights into the mirrors. We were bouncing lights off of bounces. We were shooting lights through silks. Just whatever we could do to fight the sun that was now coming in strong. So there you can see we've got the 720. We've got, a silk on an arm, and we're bouncing that to punch against that sunlight coming in so that we can, get that nice high key look that we want, where we see out the windows and everything looks nice. Doing what we need to do to get the shots and fight the light and make it do what we need. So, yep. And there's another shot of Mike running the gimbal here. So again, roles on this, I was DP, focus puller. Mike was camera operator. So that was kind of his primary thing, was to run camera and gimbal. This is the shoot that made us decide we need an easy rig, because running this gimbal all day hurts and it's heavy. As light as it seemed, it's heavy. And so we've got all that. So now we have an easy rig, which we, of course, subsequently didn't bring to half of our shoots because we're like, oh, we don't need it. And then we're like, why did we buy an easy rig if we're not going to use it? So we're going to start using it more. Anyway. Because all we see is shots of Mike with his giant muscles carrying this thing around the entire time because we were not bringing the easy rig. There's me pulling focus, and there's Mike with the gimbal, and there's Augie with lights, and Jaime is also with lights somewhere. We're setting for the next scene. Okay, yeah, so then we also brought in the T-bar diffusion. So this was our first go at a one stand book light. This monstrosity, we should have used a combo stand, but we didn't. We used a C stand. We put a C stand on wheels. We put the Nanlite 720. We put the Godox 600 blasting into an ultra bounce. We've got on top a triple header where we've got T-barred a silk shoot through, and then we have an ultra bounce that we're going to hang down to bounce the light into after we get the dolly. And so, there it is. Now you can see. And we ended up going, we don't like the look we're getting. So we actually ended up like, boy, yeah, this thing was heavy and it was not easy to move. But we got beautiful light out of it, and we learned that we would do it differently next time. So, yeah, there is a good shot of it. Let me see if there's an easy way to zoom in here. There we go. Yeah. So we had the triple header, and then we had a grip arm off of that because we needed this silk out even farther than we could get it. We ended up shooting the lights at one point through the silk and then through this just to like double diffuse instead of bouncing. Boy, it was all just a lot of light. But in the end, we got the look we needed. And sometimes we were bouncing it, sometimes we were shooting it through a silk. So it wasn't technically a book light, but you know, the same principle. The idea of double diffusing a large soft source. And look at the poor guys trying to move this monstrosity around. And it was so heavy. They had to do this like funky crab walk just to move around with it. Yeah, it was kind of silly. So, we have since come up with better ways to do that. Oh yeah, and here we are stuffing this monstrosity again in the corner, bouncing those big lights to get what we need for these scenes. So the 720 and the 600, we had those in there. And then of course the little tiny 60 watt guy out there. So we had a bunch of HDMI cable issues too on this shoot, where like this monitor kept going out. We kind of finally had to like bypass it, and Mike's like looking at the tiny little FX3 screen for these. So again, client on the monitor, that's great. So right there, you can see that little light that I was talking about earlier, that's bouncing right off the wall to give them a little bit of kick. And then we are over here just getting every shot we can in the time we have. Once we got into this area, it got a little more run and gun because we pre-produced the Pilates side really well. And Pilates movements are easier to plan and produce, but we just didn't pre-produce the shots and the plans for this side as well. And so once we got here, it was a little more like, okay, the light is set. This looks nice. Now let's do this. Now let's try this. So we kind of went a little bit what we call videographer mode, where we just start chasing footage and hey, do that. Hey, do that. Hey, do that. And like it's not as planned and scripted and storyboarded as how we like to work. So we had that giant monstrosity moved around. Mike's arms finally got tired, so I picked up the gimbal and did some shots. And it's definitely hefty. But yeah, and here we are bouncing this off of that ultra bounce for some of these scenes. So this is the one that I was like, hey, look at the shot. It's kind of sourcey, the light. So as we turn and see, you'll see Mike's coming in with that push. And then we're going to turn and go, yep, here's that shot that I was like, doesn't that light look kind of sourcey? And it does. It really does. It's too far away. If it had been closer, it would have been softer. But it turns, again, once light's farther, that source is farther away, it turns into a hard light again. But I mean, overall, it looks good. You'd always do something different the second time around. But I'm just going to start blazing through this a little faster because there's still so much to cover. Lots of behind the scenes, lots of shots of, different angles and all the stuff we're doing. You can see light bouncing everywhere. You can see those 60 watt lights giving us the kick when we need it. But I mean, we were pumping a lot of light into this room, and it's still, we could have used more. We basically had a 1200 watt light here at the 720 and the 600. And it's like, and that was bouncing off the corner. We were like, we could love a little bit more light. It was enough. But it would have been nice to have a little more. I mean, this thing was so hard to move around. So we're not going to build it that way again. But it worked. It did the job. And that's half the battle, is doing the job. So that's good. And here's more behind the scenes, more filming, more gimbal shots, more lighting, more getting things, more focusing. Okay, here's the tube lights. You guys have probably seen this on YouTube. People are putting these white pool noodles on tube lights to diffuse them. And it looks goofy, but it works really well. And it makes it nice and soft. So, like, even though it's a little sourcey, just seeing that there's a light, like, it is very soft quality of light. So that's nice to have. And so we're just trying to gimbal through this little tiny doorway and make some kind of movement happen inside of a door frame. And there's everyone in the lobby watching the monitor, seeing what we're doing. And we're just trying to make something happen inside this little doorway. So we've got those shots. Oh yeah, and we did end up throwing this. I forgot about this. We did throw another light in. This is why we have behind the scenes. So Augie's Hollywooding a battery operated 60 watt light to give us a little more punch there. Okay, and then here is more just kind of following down through the hallway. Mike is pulling focus on some of these. You know how Mike and I like to hive mind and swap back and forth. So we do that. It's nice to have primary roles, but it's fun to just kind of switch it up and be like, hey, can I run camera and you pull focus, and just swap it out. Oh yeah, right here. So for these night scenes that I alluded to at the beginning, this is how we lit them. We bounced a 60 watt light off piece of foam core on that triple header. And so you'll see the behind the scenes of that in a minute. Well, yeah, we gave Augie a run at running the gimbal also. It was his first time running the big ring. And so it was fun to let him give that a go, because Augie has, he has the same gimbal, so he knows how to operate the gimbal. Just running it in the ring, was new and different. So that's cool. Anyway, and Augie's got bigger muscles than I do, so he can run it pretty well. Yeah, there's Augie. So he was running those shots. Here we go. And you can see the light not blinking on our 360 camera. So yeah, we're running that as they run out, and Jaime's walking there, Hollywooding that light behind them as we go. And boom, now they're in the dark because our light is gone. So you can see that light really makes a difference. There's Jaime kind of holding that light as we go. So when we have that light, boy, it looks good. So having light, man, it makes a difference. And getting it in the right spots is really helpful. And there's me sitting at the end of the hallway directing and pulling focus. And Augie keeping everybody safe, because when you're walking backwards with expensive equipment, you want a safety. So that's what we did. And then we carried that light on through here. Didn't work as well out here because we had to be a little farther away because it was a wider shot, and it was all right. It worked. And then here's more shots of Augie with the gimbal, walking backwards, all by himself, because it was just an open area, and that was fine. Yeah, these wide shots, the lighting did not work as well in those, but, it was an extra shot, and it worked out. And then it was the end of the day and the end of the shoot, and we had to play Tetris and pack it up. We had to pack all this gear up, and then we had to fit it back in my CRV, because we also did not have the production van back then, which we now have. And that is great, having that van. So yeah, there was so much content we were able to capture for them, and really just get a wide variety of shots. They just showed a whole lot of different aspects of their place. There's that mirror shot. So you can just see there's so much that we were able to capture. Some of these end up on billboards, some of them don't, but there is just a wide variety of shots that you can get. And that allows us to give our clients a lot to work with. So these are all clips the clients got. And if you follow Europhoria's page on Instagram or whatever, you'll see they've mixed these clips up and made a bunch of their own things out of it, which is perfect. That's exactly what these are for the client to be able to take this footage farther and not have to pay us to make every single edit. So yes, in a sense, we're leaving money on the table by not saying pay us for all the edits. We're going to hold the footage hostage. But, we also charge people for the clips. So we're able to do that. And then it's less busy work of editing for us. And it works out well for everybody. So it's a great way to help your client get more for their budget to buy. In this case, they had 75 of these clips that they got. So they're able to get a lot more than just that 1 minute video. Because otherwise it's like, here's your 1 minute video. That's all you get. Thanks for paying us a bunch of money. But, we get the video, we get, in their case, they got a short little website sizzle reel version, and they also got a vertical version. So they get all of those things in addition to those clips. So it becomes a much better, return for the client, for their project. And hey, it's more work for us, and happy clients are good because happy clients give you even more work than unhappy clients. And we like happy clients. Boy, that's a lot of behind the scenes pictures. Thank you guys for hanging in and checking this out. I hope it was helpful and useful for you. I hope you learned a little bit about lighting or just the way we do things. It's always fun to see how someone else does things because it's different than how you do things. And, maybe seeing these breakdowns and shot list storyboards, maybe that's helpful and useful for you as well, just to kind of see ways to organize things. Oh yeah, and then we had our binder. We had the treatments, the shot types, the look, the wardrobe, all this stuff. And this was all in pre-production. I didn't go over this in the beginning. So we had the idea. We wanted to communicate, connect, transform, and shine. We want, happy faces, etc. So we knew, the shots are going to have movement. We know we want to see the space. We want to see its amenities. It's bright and airy. It's high key. So it's like this is the treatment we provided them after having our meeting and stuff. We know the shots are going to be a mix of things. We're going to see trainers. We're going to see, synchronized training movements and Pilates. We talked about colors and wardrobe. Like, okay, let's keep the colors there. Let's do, maybe blacks and whites. Et cetera. Hey, if we can have everyone wear matching socks or everyone be barefoot and, just have that matching aesthetic. That was fantastic. And of course, Europhoria, they're on top of that kind of branding stuff, they're a fantastic client. And they are already like, yeah, of course, we're going to go buy matching uniforms for everyone. We're going to make this look great because they get it. They know, the power of those things. So, and here we have the deliverables. We're going to give you a 20-second website header. We're going to give you the individual social clips. We're going to give you the 1 minute in vertical, the 1 minute in horizontal. So that was basically the pitch we gave them, and they were like, yep, that is fantastic, and then we went forward with it. We had the roles for the crew, which we kind of went over. I was doing director, DP, focus puller. Mike was doing gaffer and cam op. Heather was assistant director. Augie and Jaime were grips, and Dominic was our behind-the-scenes photo video guy. Getting all that. Dominic is also Mike's son, so if you saw the picture of Dominic, then you were like, why does that look like Mike? Because it's Mike's kid. Yeah, and then making sure that we had the script dialed in, which Europhoria, they wrote the kind of the first draft of the script, and then we kind of tweaked it a little bit, so we got the script dialed in. Lighting diagrams. Everyone loves a lighting diagram. We should have went over this sooner, right? So we had figured out like, okay, our mobile book light on wheels, we figured that out. We knew how we were going to do that. We knew we'd be sometimes spotting, bouncing this thing. We knew here was our Pilates setup. Because again, we had gone and scouted. So we knew here's the layout of the room. The sun is going to key. It's going to come in this way. It's going to act as a rim. Our 720 is going to go over here. It's going to bounce here. We knew the dolly was going to go here for some shots, here for some shots. We knew that, we would have the rolling book light for close-ups. We knew we would have the tube light for rims for medium and close-up shots. We knew we'd be bouncing and filling everything in this room kind of from this direction. For the courtyard shot, we planned out, we knew the sun was coming in through the trees. We knew we'd come in this way, we'd walk this way. So these arrows are like the camera's going to be here. We knew dolly is going to be here for coming in the lobby shots. So there's that dolly move. Dolly's going to go here. We're going to get that shot. Dolly's going to go here. We're going to have a light over here bouncing into an ultra bounce. The sun's coming in here. And then for the strength training, we had, it looks kind of like a mess because it kind of is. But we had all these blue camera positions. We had yellow light positions. We had red, for lights as well. And here we had for the outdoor thing, we're going to do this whole, 60D into a bounce board with the person walking and someone's holding it with a sad face because they have to carry it. For the light console in the bathroom is the tubs of noodles. I would die if I ate that. Tubs of noodles. And then here we had, we knew this room was big enough we could do this whole rolling book light stand thing. So we had that figured out. This is a picture from our scout. And then we had our gear list of what we were bringing and what we were going to do. And then we didn't write our post considerations because we were doing our own post and we knew what we were going to do. So anyway, that does it for this project. I hope that was a helpful video for you guys. Just helpful for us to break down kind of what we did going into this project. I know there's a lot there because it was a big project. It was, there was a lot to it. And I feel like we got a killer video out of it. The client was super happy, and that makes us happy. When client's happy, we're happy with the look and feel of everything, and we're able to give that direction. We're able to say, here's what we're going to do. Here's what the schedule is going to be. Here's when we're going to do these things. Here's when we're going to do those things. And we're able to take the control that we should have as a proper production company, and have clients who will understand and allow us to have that control. Because sometimes clients don't want to let you have that control. I feel like I don't get to do as many of these projects as I would like. Maybe get this level of control in pre-production. We're always trying to get more of those kind of projects. They're really fun. And it really lets you stretch, those muscles and stuff. Anyways, I'm rambling now. So if you liked this video, please subscribe. And do subscribe to our channel and do watch more of our videos because we love putting out helpful content like this. It's super fun for me to do this. I hope it's super fun for you to watch it and break it all down. And come back next week for another episode of the Video Build Show where we will do something else interesting and entertaining and helpful for video production professionals. Thanks.